So, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome here to this full council meeting here at Lichfield District Council. I'm going to start off by introducing the young lady on my left-hand side. This is Reverend Danielle Lee. Reverend Lee is the vicar at Wade Lane Church, and she's very kindly said that she would come here this evening. This has been arranged by the chairman, by Keith, and so we're very grateful that you've turned up this evening. Thank you very much. And I think you want the members to sit down, don't you? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's probably not quite the protocol we're used to, but she's very kindly acceded to the fact that you can sit down. So there we go. The members, I introduce to you Reverend Lee, Danielle Lee. Thank you.
Thank you. So when invited to speak, he said some kind of short informational talk, and I've timed the 5 minutes, so don't worry, it'll only be a maximum. But I wanted to talk a little about little things, more deep. I've brought some Lego with me. Lego is loved it, and my son is 10. Still plays it every day. His go-to. I think there's something so special about Lego. We learn so much. So Lego, the bricks can build something bigger, stronger. There's something to be said about conformity. To build, you know what you're doing, you know what you get. But there's something a little bit more in a bit of diversity, bit of colour, bit of difference. It's harder because it's more attention. I can just shove the white bricks. Think about the bit more. And if you different parts, different pieces with different functions, bricks, come up with something quite amazing like that. What's that? Anyone know what that is? A Y-wing, indeed, and one of my other favourites. So when you have lots of different pieces, put them together, they function well together, they're all in the right place, they're all doing their thing next to their different can relate to people. There's a purpose. And the first thing is how we relate to others. Now, it's easy for us to stick with other people that we know, people who are like us, and that's a natural thing to do. When I lived in Argentina, more beauty and strength, different, that we have to learn from their different perspectives, learn how to work together, fit one another. But the results can be, as each Lego brick has its place, we each, whether it's in our homes, whether it's in our or in what, but each important part, or small you are, how that's when seen. So we can think about us as, but we can also think of ourselves as individuals being made up of. And in our lives, like just public little choices. Because it's those little things, oh, who we are. When I pray for you as leaders, local, one of the things I think about is describe integrity, the right thing. It's all those positive decisions, little helpful steps that bring good, help others, supportive environment, loving family, productive work. Those little things are as important as big decisions. In my role, I have got people, loved ones. Although the big achievements, things that are remembered. Always struck about this. All little things 6 months. And at Christmas, remember a baby who made a big impression. There are so many. Okay. But he didn't need to start baby in the womb. He could have just been appeared as a baby. He could have appeared as a fully grown. But he chose to give all the details. You know the phrase, the devil is in the details? I've just actually, God is. But I think we should reclaim it. I think there's something significant about it. So I've actually got little takeaways. There's bricks in. On your way out, on your way out, I invite you to take a brick with you. And it's a reminder of 3 things. The one is you are a small part of a big picture of an important. Number 2 is that the small details of our lives, they're things that can mean so much. And then number 3, Jesus was only one man. I think that's me. Father God, I pray that you would help each of us to realize again being a important role that bring about. Help us to work together. We can best fit a unique value in them. Help us to better understand what different our beliefs may be. Help us to act with integrity at all times. May we be those who glide with lots of beauty, so that we're known a bit more about and more.
Members, I would very much like to extend thanks on behalf of the whole of the council for the wise words there from Reverend Danielle Lee. And we're very, very grateful that she was able to be with us here this evening for those very sagacious words. And we once again thank her very much indeed. Thank you. We now move on to the agenda, members. And in front of you, you will have that report and the agenda, which has been circulated to everyone. First of all, could I please ask whether we have any apologies for absence? And I think Mark Hooper has got some apologies, quite a few as well.
Thank you, Chair. We've received apologies from Councillors Vernon, Anavicius, Booker, Cross, Harvey Coggins, Leung, Sylvester Hall, Warfield and Woodward.
Thank you very much. Could I at this point as well just say Councillor Warfield hasn't been very well at all recently, and I wish to say, I think on behalf of us all, that we wish him a very speedy recovery. Councillor Whitehouse, did you wish to say something, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Also apologies from Councillor Brian Yates.
Thank you very much indeed. So those will be duly recorded. Can I just say, I have sat in this chair on a few occasions before, and every time I plonk myself in it, it reminds me of the chair in the Jack and the Beanstalk pantomime. It's this huge chair that I'm sitting in, and it's quite a privilege to be here as well. So we now move on to the second item on the agenda, members. That's the declarations of interest, please. Do we have any declarations of interest? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone suggesting they do, so we'll move on then to item 3. Agenda item 3 is the minutes of the last meeting. Okay, Councillor Ball, yes, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I have a suggested correction, please, to the minutes. On page 2 of the minutes, page 4 in the pack, towards the bottom, award of contract for paddle tennis Beacon Park. The last sentence there, the leader advised that a response would be provided to Councillor Booker. I distinctly recall, and Councillor Woodward, had she been here, would have raised this, that she asked the leader if he would please circulate that response to all councillors, and I think that should have been recorded, as was asked for and agreed at previous meetings. So I think I'd be grateful that amendment could be made, and perhaps hear when that response might be provided. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ball. So so to move the minutes of the previous meeting be approved as a correct record, can I take the minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of October 2025 and the extraordinary meeting held on the 4th of November 2025 as a correct record? Thank you very much. Okay. So that has been carried. Thank you. Agenda item 4, Chair's announcements. If I could ask the Chair, who's sitting here, to give his report. So, first of all, can I say that I didn't realise before I became Vice Chairman just how many different events we were invited to. And I know that the Chairman, Keith, and his consort, Jill, have been very, very busy indeed. And you have in front of you a list of the events which have been attended over the last few months. And I've attended quite a few as well. And can I say that very recently, I think some of you were already present too, in Guildhall on the 2nd of December, which was the Lichfield City and District Council joint carol service for the Mayor and Chair in the Guildhall. And £193.71 was raised for various charities. And the event was undertaken and overseen by the Mayor, Councillor Claire Pinder-Smith. And can I say that she did a superb job as well, really did do a magnificent job. Very nice to see a lot of members there. We also had very good attendance from across the county as well. Newcastle, Cannock Chase were there, and quite a few others as well. It was an hour-long event, and I thought it went extremely well. And there were mince pies and mulled wine at the end, which I think went down extremely well. We've also got tomorrow, there's a cathedral carol service tomorrow evening, which I'm very much looking forward to. And then Jane, my partner, and I are attending on the 14th, that's Sunday the 14th. We're going up to Stoke-on-Trent for another carol service. So by the end of the next fortnight, I expect to be word perfect in all the Christmas carols, having had an enormous amount of practice. But can I just say, it is an enormous privilege to be attending these events on behalf of the District Council. And I know that the Chairman, Keith Vernon, would very much echo those words as well. I think that's all I have to say on that. So I'm now going to move on to agenda. Sorry, I beg pardon, Councillor Ball. I do beg your pardon.
Sorry, Chair. Thank you. Page 24. I think we need another correction for minutes. Friday, the 28th of November, a visit to Sparks. It should be Spark without the extra S on the end.
I do. That could be a typographical error, of course, but I'm sure that has been noted and that correction, that amendment will be made. But thank you for bringing it to our attention, Councillor Ball. Thank you. So if you're happy with that, then we move on to agenda item 5, report of the leader of the council on cabinet decisions. I hand over to Councillor Pullen.
Thank you, Chair. Sent my report to the report of the leader of the council from cabinet on the 4th of November, cabinet on the 2nd of December, and then cabinet member decisions. I'll take them item by item. So from cabinet on the 4th of November 2025, number 1, local government reorganisation. Number 2,
Please, Councillor Ball.
Thank you, Chair. I seem to be quite busy this evening, but here we go. On item 1, local government reorganisation, I think I probably know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it nonetheless. I'm assuming that the submission was made. Can the leader confirm that? And at the same time, can you confirm that you took the opportunity to make it clear to central government that proposed east-west split of the county was utter nonsense and completely silly thing to do?
Thank you. I knew I'd forgotten to do something, Councillor Ball. No, we did send it in. We did make the submission. We made it clear throughout our proposals or our submission that not only was the east-west division ludicrous, but also, in fact, the whole entire local government reorganisation, which purports to move power closer to communities, but is actually moving power closer to Whitehall, an item which wasn't in a manifesto, was also ludicrous as well. Not something that we welcome on this side of the chamber at all. I know that my colleagues from right across this chamber are all acutely aware of local government and how well it serves its residents currently. That being said, we have made our submission. We believe we've made a positive case for a 3x3 unitary model in Staffordshire. And whilst perhaps we might not agree with the policy direction, we are all agreed that if it is going to happen, then that will be the very best possible way forward for our residents. And I welcome support from colleagues from most corners of this chamber in our proposal for that.
Councillor Braga, please.
Thank you. For 1.2 on here, I felt it was a very good report that we considered, but obviously that there was powers to change it after then. Can I just ask, were there any changes, and any significant ones, can they be reported to us, please?
Thank you, Councillor Bragg. I think that's a really good point. And there were changes made. More than happy to send a tracked version of changes. There were minor changes. The biggest change that was made was just to reflect Stoke's slight shift in financial submission. So we just needed to make sure we reflected accurately what was in their document. So it was purely to do that. But in terms of substance of what we submitted, there was no materiality or material change in that. I think if we haven't already, then we should circulate that final to you. Hopefully, I can find where any change. Obviously, to item 2, then, Chair, infrastructure funding statement. And then on to Cabinet on the 2nd of December 2025. Quarter 2, 2025-2026 performance report. Then the transfer of properties from Persimmon Homes, the Lichfield District Council.
Councillor Ball, please.
I'm sure Councillor Ball would like to congratulate us on.
Indeed, Councillor Pullen, I am pleased to congratulate you on this move. I'm not sure I would have chosen Persimmon as my first choice of property developers to do this. So one of the least good in terms of final finish, but I'm sure our team at the trading company will be very good at holding them to account. At least they're coming to us and not to Bromford, who I would not be convinced would carry out the job anything like as well as our own team will. Thank you.
I see that Councillor Ray, you wish to speak as well. Thank you.
Yes, I was just going to say, just to acknowledge this policy of the council acquiring social rented housing, an important policy, is progressive, and I just wanted to add my thanks for the all involved and to acknowledge the role of Councillor Ball in this policy and in driving this forward. So this is a policy that will make a difference to our community.
Thank you, Councillor Ray.
Perhaps Councillor Ray could tell me what the involvement of Councillor Ball was in this policy, please. That'd be very much appreciated, but maybe after the meeting. This was Councillor Ball and colleagues from right across the chamber have pushed forward for our deeper involvement in housing. We absolutely have taken that mantra up. This was an opportunity that was presented to us between our offices and Persimmon, I think it would be fair to say. Good news for your Councillor Ball. There'll be plenty of more developers to choose from over the coming years because the Labour government has trebled our housing number, so there'll be plenty more housing providers to choose from. 753 we need to build now a year rather than 253. Number 5, mini nature reserves. Number 6, contract award for wheeled waste and recycling bins. Oh,
Councillor Taylor, were you first? I think Councillor Taylor was
No.
first. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
we'll take Councillor Ball first.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sorry, Chair. The leader is obviously wanting to rattle through this evening. But mini nature reserves, again, I want to commend the council for this initiative, particularly in my own ward, because I've been pushing again for that for some time. But the mini nature reserve on the part of Christian Fields south of Eastern Abbey will be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. Councillor Taylor, please, you wish to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, with the contract award for wheeled waste and recycling bins, and I note that the award was to organisations who are either within Lichfield District or in the immediate environs. However, in a previous meeting at my questioning, that the leader did say that it would be a good idea to include on the briefing papers for Cabinet the lengths to which we had taken to ensure local procurement. And whilst this was procured locally, in the Cabinet paper on this item, there is no mention of having taken those considerations. I did take the time out to take a look at the Yorkshire Purchasing Organisation framework, and it does include local procurement as a consideration. So, you know, that was almost done for us. We need to be completely open about how we are considering that and putting it in our papers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Pullen.
Thank you, and I'll pick that up with officers. Councillor Taylor, I think it is a good suggestion. It should be included in our reports. Obviously, we are being transparent about how we're doing that. That is absolutely hard baked into our procurement approach and our policy, which Councillor Strachan moved, I think, probably a year or more ago, which we approved at council, which absolutely stated that we will take local suppliers where we can. We'll give them a preference. Not only that, but also in terms of adding social value through our procurement strategy as well, which I know that Sarah Carrington, who has recently left us, and her team as well, have done a fantastic job and have now become an award-winning council because of our approach to procurement, because of our approach to adding social value, and because of our approach to ensuring that local suppliers are given priority where possible. Procurement strategy. Thank you, Councillor Taylor, for that, and I'll make sure those are included in future reports. Number 7, Money Matters calculation of business rates 26-27, council tax base for 26-27, and the projected collection fund surplus deficit for 25-26. Number 8, Money Matters 25-26, financial monitoring. And then on to Cabinet member decisions. Number 9, allocation of UK Share Prosperity Fund Energy Saving Scheme grants. Number 10, the land acquisition at Sadler's Wood Park. Number 11, allocation of Section 106 financial contributions for the Bradley Play area improvements. Number 12, public health funeral policy.
Councillor Norman, please.
I could refer to it later on in the regulatory and licensing report, but I just want to get it out of the way now, really, which is to say that I've known about the funeral, the responsibility of a district council as part of these sort of funerals decades now, but I was rather surprised that we hadn't actually got a policy. So I'm not blaming anybody for that. It's just I was just amazed that we hadn't. And I do congratulate the officer at the time and the report that members had on that. And I'm pleased to see that we do have a policy, although we've always had that duty and that responsibility under the legislation. So just good to see anyway. But I still can't believe I missed it all these years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Norman. Councillor Wallens, please. Thank you, Councillor Wallens. Councillor Pullen.
Like everything we do, Councillor Wallens, absolutely, we publish as much possible information as we can. I don't see why we wouldn't do the same there. Thank you. On to 13, purchase of social rented housing support for vulnerable households.
Councillor Ball, please.
I'll only come up once this time, so I'll take 13 and 15 at the same time and commend again the council for following the recommendation that as a Labour group we pushed hard for at the last full council meeting to spend £2 million on social housing across Lichfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. Councillor Pullen.
Thank you, Chair and Councillor Ball. Thank you yet again for welcoming that. Of course, this is the first tranche of £2 million. The £2 million that you quite rightfully pushed for still hasn't been spent yet, but this is the first £2 million that's been knocking around quite a while. But it's good to see that across the chamber we're pulling together to do what we need to do for our residents. Number 14, customer-facing revenues and benefits system selection. Number 15, purchase of social rented housing to support vulnerable households. Number 16, decision statement regarding the making of Stonall Neighbourhood Plan 2024-2043, subject to examiners' modifications.
Councillor Whitehouse, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd just like to, on point 16, just to make the point that I'd like to express my thanks to Shenstone Parish Council for delegating to the residents of Stonall the ability to form a group about 2 years ago to revise the original neighbourhood plan that was made in 2017. It's especially pleasing to see that the group consulted with the public and managed to get the plan through to budget within a decent record time. I'm also pleased with the way that we consulted far and wide throughout the village and made sure that as far as possible, every resident had an opportunity to contribute towards that plan. So now the Stonall Group looks forward to implementing projects that emanate from the neighbourhood plan, and in particular utilising some historic funds totalling circa £11,000, which is held by the Parish Council on behalf of Stonall residents. So, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Whitehouse. And Councillor Pullen, I think that concludes your report.
That concludes my report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Pullen. Agenda item 6, members, is the minutes of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Can I please call upon Councillor Norman?
Thank you, Chair. I move the proceedings of the held on the 18th of November 2025 be received.
Thank you very much. Could I ask, do we have someone to second those minutes, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. So moving on to take the minutes by number. Councillor Norman, this is where you take us through this process. Thank you.
First item is present. This next item minute is 29. Apologies for absence. Number 30 is declaration of interest. 31 is the minutes of the previous meeting. And in case people think you've got deja vu, you've already agreed this in the council meeting of the 14th of October. But Councillor Trent was so keen to get this on record that he made me do it all again on that day at the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, despite my best efforts to get the monitoring officer to rule it out of order by body language. Anyway, there you are. 32, health matters. 33, compliments, complaints, MP and FOI inquiries report, 24, 2025, and 24, 2025. 34, the planning performance progress report. This is a 6-month review.
Okay,
quite a few items there.
Councillor Trent, please.
I don't want to disappoint Councillor Norman, so I thought I'd just rise to make an additional point. It's just a typo, and on the 4th bullet down on page 32, there's the face that the organisation should be the fact that the organisation. So just a typo. And there's also a few points in the minutes where there should be spaces between words and there isn't, but maybe there's a space bar problem when they're typed up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Trent. Councillor Norman, if you'd like to resume. Thank you.
Well, I accept those, but I don't understand why the officers put them back in again after I do it. As you know, you get a draft minutes there. It's the justifying text is the real pain. This is much better than the thing I see. Anyway, that was that. Thank you very much for that. I think the last item is 35, which is the work programme.
Councillor Ball, thank you very much, Councillor Norman. Councillor Ball, please.
Thank you, Chair. 2 points on the work programme. First of all, on the empty homes policy, but we've been told for at least 2 meetings of the Overview Scrutiny Committee that the publication of this is imminent. I wonder if the chair has any more news on that, or any of the cabinet members can share some light on it. And secondly, as I'm standing, I just want to repeat that, as I said at the meeting, that as the cabinet member is here this evening, he wasn't at that Overview and Scrutiny Committee, nor indeed at the Young Voices event itself, but I think that was for reasons that he could help. So I think it was a great event. I was concerned, as I said there, that in the minutes that our staff numbers exceeded by quite a margin the young people who were there, and that's quite an expensive fixed cost for us to bear. The young people, I'm sure, had a great idea, great time. If it hadn't been for Liberty Jamboree, the numbers would have been much lower. But I think rushing into it, as I said at the Overview Scrutiny Committee, was perhaps a mistake, and perhaps a cabinet member will listen to the Overview and Scrutiny Committee next time when they make suggestions about taking time to do things in a careful way. Thank you.
Councillor Ball, thank you very much. Councillor Taylor, I believe you wish to speak.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I know that the members of the committee wanted to consider the empty homes in the housing delivery plan. The only empty property that really bothers the residents of Burnwood is the former pub, The Oak, in our town centre. Lichfield District Council, I believe, is supposed to be at the vanguard of implementing the new policy from the government that can force landlords to let out that property. But we've seen no movement on this property. I wonder whether I could ask the chair of Overview and Scrutiny whether we could look into that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Do you wish to come back then, Councillor Norman? Thank you.
Got up the last word, obviously. Yes, that's chair. I just say yes. I mean, obviously, cabinet members themselves would have heard the comments made by Councillors Ball and Councillors Taylor. The MP Home ones, as it says on there, is not going on the back burner, but I will emphasise that again, and also lobby the officers necessary for the next, hopefully for the next meeting, actually, January. I've heard what Councillor Taylor said, and that's interesting. Well, I will certainly follow that up. There's no reason why I shouldn't follow that up, whether we'll have a report at scrutiny or do it some other way, but I'll certainly follow that up, because it is an empty property, and it's been an empty property ever since I was elected as a councillor here in Lichfield District, which goes back to 1995. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Pullen, please.
Yeah, just so that council isn't sort of labouring under any misunderstandings, the empty property, the high street rental auctions, which was a policy which the previous government pushed forward very, very hard with, and we successfully used locally, applies where there is not a sitting tenant. My understanding is that pub does have a tenant. Whilst they might not be in the building, there is a tenant, and therefore, whilst we're actively working with the landlord, actively working with the tenant and the landlord, the HSRA just simply isn't a viable way of moving that forward. Whilst it can help nudge people along where there is an existing tenancy, that power does not apply.
Councillor Taylor.
Having sat through a couple of particularly boring meetings on occasions, I have read through the legislation on a couple of times, and the definition of empty property is about footfall, not about having a tenant. I do believe the Act can be used, unless my understanding of the legislation is completely wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Can we bring that to a close now? And if so, I'd like to thank the Chairman of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, that's Councillor Norman, and members, can we take the minutes as received? Thank you. We will now move on seamlessly to agenda item 7, the minutes of the Planning Committee. And may I call upon the Chair of the Planning Committee, that's Councillor Checkland.
Thank you, Chair. I move that the proceedings of the Planning Committee held on 3rd of November 2025 be entered, received, and where necessary, approved and adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Checkland. Do we have a seconder, please? Thank you. And that's Councillor Claverley. Thank you, Councillor Claverley. I will take the minutes by page number, page 35. Councillor Ball, please.
Thank you, Chair. I should say I'm doing two jobs this evening, which is why I keep popping up. On behalf of Councillor Woodward, who, if she'd been here, would have raised this question, there are quite a lot of declarations of interest here. Obviously, some of them because there are two planning applications that people declared interest, but quite a lot of them have been because they're ward members. Now, in Councillor Woodward's recollection, that's not really a reason for declaring an interest. But I just wanted guidance on that, whether that's actually accurate or not. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Cox, you wish to contribute as well. Thank you.
Chairman, I absolutely concur with what Councillor Ball is saying. To have ward members declaring an interest because they're an application within the ward, in all my years, I've never known it be so prolific. I can understand transparency, but this is like going beyond. When you're on the planning committee, you're actually not representing your ward, you're representing your district.
Councillor Cox, yes, you are correct, of course. And you put the district's interests first. Your ward is very, very subservient to that. In fact, is almost of little consequence. Thank you very much for putting that on the record. Do we have any other questions, please? Okay, so just taking those minutes by the page number 35 and 36. Can we take those minutes as received and adopted, members, please? Thank you. Thank you. Agenda item 8. This is the minutes of the Audit Committee. And I'd like to call upon Councillor Powell, please, as chairman of that committee. Councillor Powell.
Thank you, Chair. I move that the proceedings of the Audit Committee meeting held on the 13th of October 2025 be received and, where necessary, approved and adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Powell. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Chetland, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to second.
Thank you very much. I will take those minutes by item number. So 88 apologies for absence. 89 declarations of interest. 90 minutes of the previous meeting. 91 statement of accounts 2024-25. 92 is audit findings report for Lichfield District Council 2024-25. 93 is the work programme. So Councillor Taylor, I'll take you first, then Councillor Trent second. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just under the work programme, members may not know, but the Audit Committee meeting for the 25th of November was cancelled and rearranged with very short notice. I, in particular, was disappointed at this because it broke a 3-year 100% council attendance record since I was elected in November 2022. Sorry, I'm fine. So yeah, I was disappointed at this late rearrangement, and in fact, the rearranged date was available to so few that the meeting ended up being incorrect and had to be cancelled. I was wondering whether we can. We were given no explanation for this. I wonder whether we could have an explanation and whether we can have an assurance that any subsequent rearrangement of dates would be given significantly more notice. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. And also Councillor Trent, you wish to ask a question as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. It relates to the last bullet point of item 93. I was interested to see there was a suggestion of that committee about a joint meeting with overview and scrutiny, and that might be beneficial. That was the first I'd heard of that, so I wondered if there was any more information on that item and whether the audit committee had actually agreed at that point. It might be a very good idea, but I would just be grateful for any more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Trent. If I may ask the Chairman, Councillor Powell, to respond, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Well, first of all, the meeting that was rearranged, I originally asked for that back in July, so it wasn't short notice. The fact that the members were not informed was not my problem. It was down to how the information was relayed to them. The fact that we were in court was entirely down to the fact that Councillor Warfield had a heart attack, and therefore we were lacking that one extra member. So my apologies to everybody for that, but this was actually done months and months ago when my work programme for my personal work, which keeps me in body and soul together, meant that I could not attend that meeting. And I was aware that there might have been a problem with numbers, so it was moved. I was not aware that it would cause such a problem to the various people here. So my apologies for that. As regards the question about the joint meeting, yes, I think it's an excellent idea, and I'll have a talk with the Chairman of Ovium Scrutiny about organising that. Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Powell, thank you for your response. Councillor Turner, please. Taylor, I do beg your pardon.
Thank you, Chair. So my understanding then is that the meeting was rearranged because the Chair was not able to attend. Can I ask why the Vice Chair wasn't slated to take the meeting on the original date? I realise that by that date he would have been ill, but why would we rearrange a meeting simply because the Chair was busy, when there is a Vice Chair whose duty it is to fill that role under his absence?
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Do you wish to respond, Councillor Powell? Thank you.
I do, and if Councillor Taylor wishes any further after this reply, I'm quite happy to speak to him privately, but this matter's gone on long enough. I was aware that there would be a reduction of numbers anyway, even that far ahead, due to commitments other people had got on that particular date, and therefore, to my mind, it looks as though it might have been incorrect anyway on the actual date it was set for. So again, my apologies, Councillor Taylor, but that's how it was set to me. I was let people know well in advance, or at least let the officers to let you know well in advance. And there's not much else I can do about it. It happened. It was, as somebody said, circumstances, dear boy, circumstances.
Councillor Powell, thank you very much indeed. Do we have any other questions, please, members? In which case, can I take the minutes as received and adopted, please? Thank you. Thank you. We now move on to agenda item 9. This is the minutes of the Regulatory and Licensing Committee. And can I call on Councillor Yates? I know that I can't because Councillor Yates isn't here. So in his absence, I'm going to call upon Councillor Mears, please.
Move that the proceedings of the Regulatory and Licensing Committee meeting held on the 13th of November 2025 be received and, where necessary, approved and adopted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Ashton. Thank you.
So second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ashton. I will take those items by number. So 20, apologies for absence. 21, declarations of interest. 22 is minutes of the previous meeting. 23, update on taxi enforcement activity since last committee meeting. Number 24, public health funeral policy. 25 is the public space protection order, fishing at Stow Pool. 26, public space protection order, dog control at Hill Ridware and Drayton Bassett. Number 27 is work programme. Councillor Evans, please.
I wanted to ask the Vice Chair of the Chair whether or not pre-meetings are still held prior to the actual meeting, and do the Chair and herself attend those? And I also wanted to make a comment as well. You want an answer to that first, or shall I make the comment?
I'm happy for you to proceed until you've made your point. Thank you.
And the comment is that on the work programme, at the last sentence, it does say about James Johnson, and he was thanked for his services and the support that as he was leaving the employ of the district council. As this was a final meeting for him, and he was an extremely good and capable officer, I think everybody would agree with that. So I was somewhat disappointed that it didn't appear that anybody was going to actually thank him for his services and wish him well for his new post in Bermuda. Wouldn't we all like that as well? 3 year living in Bermuda sounds really rather nice. And that's why I mentioned it. And I do believe that we should ensure that when an officer leaves, that we in public should thank them for their services. And I think it was very remiss that that wasn't done until I actually thought that it's not going to happen, so I'll do it.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. I think you speak for many of us, if not all of us, when you say that. And I would like to say that, yes, James Johnson was a very, very capable and very hard-working officer. And I'm sure we do wish him well, as he resides in Bermuda for 3 years. And I would imagine he's probably enjoying slightly better weather than we've been having here today. But we do wish him well. And the point you make, a general point about all officers when they leave, should be publicly thanked, because they all do a superb job and work assiduously for the benefit of everybody within this district, not least of all us members as well, who rely on the officers' leadership to do our jobs too. I think I'm expecting a response, aren't I, from the chairman of the Regulatory and Licensing Committee, Councillor Mears. I think there's a point there which you need to answer. Is that correct? There was a question, wasn't there, Councillor Evans, that you asked? Yes, there was. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Evans. Yes, we do have a pre-meeting before the meetings that are scheduled on the calendar, and both Councillor Yates and myself were both aware that it was James' final meeting, and it was discussed in the pre-meeting. And I think if we look back on the footage of the meeting itself, I think we might see that he was thanked in person by the councillors. So I'd hate to think that that had been overlooked. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mears. So work programme 27, and that completes that. Can we take the minutes as received and adopted, members, please, for agenda item 9? Thank you. Thank you. So we now move on, a fairly logical progression, I suppose, isn't it, to agenda item 10, the appointment of an independent member to the Audit Committee. Can I call on the chair of the Audit Committee, Councillor Powell, to speak on this item, please? Councillor Powell.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, this was something that the Audit Committee, before my time, considered was a worthy thing to do. I totally concurred with it, and we've now actually got a member, and I welcome Ian Ingham as our independent member, and it will add a fresh pair of eyes on how we do things, a non-political pair of eyes. And I thank him for agreeing to do this. I wish him well in it, and I look forward to him attending the first meeting. Thank you.
Councillor Taylor, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think I'm beating Councillor Ball this evening for a number of times to be stood up. I was disappointed to see that we only recruited one candidate in this exercise. Early on in this council cycle, under Councillor Toe's chairship, we as a committee decided that we needed 2 independent members, and we decided it was important enough that we brought it to full council to change the constitution to allow us to recruit 2 independent members. So the fact that we then only went ahead and recruited 1, which I'm inferring from the briefing paper here, is not because there wasn't sufficient decent candidates, but just because we chose to recruit 1, is slightly disappointing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor, and I can see that Councillor Powell wishes to respond. Councillor Powell, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. No, I'm afraid you're completely wrong on that. They were a good selection of people. We went through them. We used the matrix system to judge the scoring of whether they would be able to fulfill what we considered as the audit committee and the previous audit committee when you set the original criteria. And unfortunately, he was the only one who has anything like a decent enough score to actually be offered the position. So I thank you for your interest, but that is why. And of course, if anybody else was to come forward later on who wish to make themselves known to us, we'd be more than happy to look at them. But I would point out we have only got about 14 or 15 months left of the council as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Powell. And yes, if you look at the executive summary or report on 1.2, the inclusion of an independent member on the audit committee is supported by SIPFA guidance and good practice. So I think it's very much seen as an important addition to the audit committee. And I take the point made by Councillor Taylor that he would have preferred two. But I think we don't live in a perfect world, or at least I don't inhabit a perfect world. And I think one is certainly a step in the right direction. I'm sure that Councillor Taylor, you would agree with that as well. I can see that you're nodding in agreement. Thank you. So that's the Councillor Powell. So thank you for that. And is the proposal seconded? I think it's already been, has it been seconded? Yeah, Councillor Norman, you're seconding that, aren't you? Thank you very much indeed. Okay. So is there any debate on this? Anybody wish to make comments? I know we've already had some brief comments on it. Any other issues that you wish to make or to raise? No? Okay. So if I can ask for all of those in favour of the inclusion of the independent member as discussed, would you please show? Those in favour. Thank you. Keep your hands up, please, if you would. It's carried, isn't it? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, that's carried. We don't need any. No, thank you very much. Okay, so we now move on swiftly. We don't normally get through the agenda quite this quickly. Members, I really hope that you're not galloping through this agenda simply because we're approaching Christmas and all that goes with it. Okay. Agenda item 11 is the Licensing Act 2003 policy. I can confirm that this item has been deferred to the next council meeting on the 24th of February next year. It appeared on your agendas and then was withdrawn, but I'm just mentioning it now in case you're wondering why it's on the agenda and it is not then discussed. So item 11 has been withdrawn. That's the Licensing Act 2003 policy, which takes us on to agenda item 12, the updates to the medium-term financial strategy. It gives me pleasure to call upon Councillor Strachan to speak on this item. Councillor Strachan, please.
Thank you, Chair, and can I welcome you to a seat that I hope to see you occupy next year, and which you're doing very well. There are two minor consequential updates to the medium-term financial strategy, and I say consequential because the rest of the paper came through the financial monitoring report cabinet, but these are of a sum that can only be approved by council, which is why we are here. I move, by virtue of this, that we accept the grant from DEFRA for the Extended Producer Responsibility Grant, and that we allocate that within the MTFS to serve the Joint Waste Service, and that we approve to add a new project to the capital programme to deliver the St John's Community Facility, and that is £800,000 funded from Section 106 contributions. You'll see, members, from the report, the maths behind the Extended Producer Responsibility Grant is at 1.1 of Part 3, and you'll see also that we will be taking on project on the St John's proposal. Goes into commercial.
Thank you very much, Councillor Strachan. Is the proposal seconded, please? Do we have a seconder?
Chair.
Councillor Pullen, thank you for stepping forward in a very peremptory way. Thank you. So any debate on this, members? The updates to the medium-term financial strategy? Councillor Taylor, thank you. Councillor Taylor, yes, you do now have the accolade officially of being the person who has risen to his feet the most times. And Councillor Ball, you're trying to keep up, aren't you? Doing so. Thank you, Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So two questions. On the extended producer responsibility revenue grant, so we get 1.6 million. Does that mean we're spending 1.6 million pounds more on our waste service, or does that mean we're diverting 1.6 million pounds of other funds from some that would otherwise have been spent on our waste service onto something else? And Appendix D. Appendix D is a blank page without the words. This page is intentionally left blank. Wondering to maybe leaving me to wonder whether it is intentionally blank or unintentionally blank. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Taylor. I will ask Councillor Strachan to respond before
yes.
asking Councillor Ball. Thank you.
Well, I'm happy to give way to Councillor Ball rather than bring the debate to an end.
Councillor Ball, if you wish to ask your question.
Thank you, Chair. And I suppose I should declare an interest before I ask this. I'm a member of Lichfield City Council. I commend the idea of building a community centre with £800,000 from Section 106 in St John's Ward, and I wonder whether that might be transferred to the City Council to manage as all the other community centres in Lichfield City are.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. Councillor Strachan.
Thank you. I'll deal with those in reverse order. So far as the delivery of the community centre is, as obviously we administer Section 106, I think it's felt best that we handled this one. But in terms of the ongoing management, I'm happy to have a discussion with Councillor Ball, and I'm sure that my colleagues will have discussions with the Council. To be in true reverse order, Appendix D appears to be a stray page, and there are no internal references to that appendix within the report. So I think that's an issue in the printers. So far as the £1.6 million in the grant, waste obviously is undergoing some significant changes, and we understand that our food waste responsibilities are going to be largely defrayed by what used to be called Section 31 Burdens Grant. However, we've also been advised that Section 31 New Burdens Grant will no longer be a thing, and that what used to be new burdens on district councils will be bundled in with our existing grant from government, with no way for us to audit exactly what they're giving us or what they consider to be a new burden. Some may call me cynical when I look at it, but of course I cast no aspersions on central government's motivations for that. What this in practice means is that we're getting £1.6 million of additional money, which means we can take 1.6 million out and spend that on other good things. But it may be that we have to claw some of the released 1.6 million back in if we don't get paid the full amount we think it's going to cost to deal with food. I hope that answers the question at roundabout. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pullen. Any further questions, please? Okay. Can I have the show of hands? Those in favour, please. That is carried. Thank you. Thank you. So we now move on to what is the final item on the agenda this evening, and this is questions. These questions have been submitted by members prior to the meeting, and the answers have been circulated to you all by email, but the members who submitted questions are able to ask one supplementary question. So thank you. So Councillor Bragger, you asked a question. And would you like to come back with a supplementary, please? Thank you. To your question one.
Yes, Chair, thank you. While I support free evening parking, our concerns at the disruption to volunteers, clubs and hospitality staff over the last 2 years when they were introduced. My question is about what data led to the decision to reverse the decision from 2 years ago, and could the council have information about its impact over the next 6 months, please?
Thank you, Councillor Bragger. So that's a question to the Cabinet Member for Operational Services, Parks and Waste.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Bragger. Certainly, we will analyse, as you said, going forward, which we do meticulously look at the impact of any changes. And car parking is reviewed on an annual basis, as you probably know. As far as the data sets for this particular decision, this was based purely on what we have been discussing with businesses. We've been talking at length to the effect that the high street has suffered as a result of increasing costs and the effect it has on their staff and their profitability. So this was, as much as anything else, a means of making sure that proactively we protected the Lichfield city centre businesses, and therefore we're proud that we've done the right thing going forward to make sure that there's no further issues in Lichfield. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Whitehouse. As the Cabinet Member for Operational Services, Parks and Waste. Councillor Braga, you also have a supplementary question, question 2, to the Cabinet Member for Visitor Economy, Ecology and Climate Change.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm aware that the Cabinet Member isn't here tonight, but if I can still ask the question and either get an answer now or in the future. I'm very pleased to see progress being made on pedestrianisation, but I'm disappointed the Council is only now commissioning the County Council to do the design for Boar Street. Can I ask, when is the Council likely to have an update on that work, please?
Thank you very much. The leader, Councillor Pullen, will answer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Braga, there is no need to be disappointed. We've been fully engaged with the County Council since before pedestrianisation was actually enacted. Us commissioning them is clearly part of a two-way agreement with the County Council, and we can't just say we're commissioning them without them agreeing to be commissioned. That is the piece of work that we're currently pushing through and attempting to get finalised, but it is taking a lot longer than we had initially envisaged. The work ongoing to engage with them and to get them engaged. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pullen. We now move on to question 3. You have a supplementary, Councillor Braga, once again to the Cabinet Member for Visitor Economy, Ecology and Climate Change.
Thank you, Chair. I am a bit concerned about the outputs from this group. I commend the Purple Flag Group for their success, but I think the Visitor Economy Network needs some success to build its momentum and to keep the people who are engaged. Will the Council be supporting any initiatives such as visitor information points alongside our partners?
Thank you. Councillor Pullen, did you wish to answer that one in the absence of the Cabinet Member? Thank you.
Yeah, and Councillor Braga, I think I should get the Cabinet Member to write to you more formally in terms of the specific initiatives. But what I would say that the Visitor Economy Network, we're blessed in Lichfield District to have so many tourist attractions. But I think the role of the District Council has long been in sort of flux about what our actual role as a District Council for that is. I remember many years ago, it was very much focused on Lichfield City. Clearly, that's not right for a district council. We should be looking far beyond Lichfield City for attracting tourists in. Also, clearly, the Visitor Economy Network, a lot of that work needs to be done by the members of that themselves. We're a district council. We're not the experts in the tourism industry that some of those attractions are. There's the Staffordshire County Council as well with Visit Staffordshire, and they've had a lot of work to do with as well. So I suppose really it's about finding our place in that Visitor Economy Network and ensuring that we're supporting it in terms of infrastructure, but not actually doing all the work ourselves and making sure that the members of that network are doing a lot of the heavy lifting themselves. They're the ones with the expertise. They're the ones with the ideas. We don't want to stifle their creativity, obviously. But I will get Councillor Sylvester Janice Hall to give you a more updated and specific response.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pullen, for acting in loco parentis. Question 4, we have Councillor Taylor with a question to the Cabinet Member for Finance and Commissioning. Councillor Taylor, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think I'm slightly out of order then here. Are we on to the pensions investment question or the solar panels.
This is the pension question. Yeah, it's supplementary to question
Okay,
4.
I was given it on in the reverse order. Okay, sorry. Thank you to the cabinet member for the detailed overview of the actuary's role. I think that the key words are advice and political comments. However, my question was about the risk of political decisions being made. Could the cabinet member confirm what specific mechanisms prevent the leadership of Staffordshire County Council from making decisions driven by their party's national policy that could impact the pension fund's performance? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. I shall call upon the cabinet member for finance and commissioning, please.
Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Strachan.
Thank you. The pension fund is a large and multi-party entity, and so I believe that any issues around its governance and any changes to that would require the tie-in of the numerous local authorities that are co-investors in that fund. And so I believe that, as per my original answer, it's protected not just against wider political comment, but also against policy by the fact that it requires consent around the table. And certainly some of the more left field comments that I've seen made by members of political parties who may or may not have significant powers locally would be something that we as an authority could never.
Thank you, Councillor Strachan. And we now move on to a supplementary on question 5, again for Councillor Taylor, to the Leader of the Council. Councillor Taylor, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And as we're almost at the end of the meeting, I'm fairly safe in saying this will be the last time I rise. Yeah, so thank you to the Leader for his response. He didn't mention any specific actions that have been taken so far, which would lead one to assume no specific actions have been taken so far. And as the Leader felt back when we first discussed this policy, that 6 months in order to bring it to a conclusion was not going to be long enough, it does leave us to wonder whether, in fact, the remaining 6 months that we have before the delivery is due on this is going to be long enough. Thank you. Yeah. Could the Leader confirm this or deny it?
Thank you, Councillor Taylor, and I'm sure the Leader will be more than happy to answer your question. Thank you.
I can neither confirm nor deny. Look, we have taken work and we've started some very early work on looking at it. I think, as the response says, we've focused on getting these grants out to businesses. Clearly, we don't have all the resources in the world. 6 months was never going to be long enough. We will make sure that we have it by the deadline that this council set for us for next year. So we look forward to that reporting back in June 2026.
Councillor Pullen, thank you very much indeed. And we now move on to the final supplementary question of the evening before we bring this meeting to a close. This is supplementary on question 6, and it's a question from Councillor Norman to the Cabinet Member for High Street and Economic Development. Councillor Norman, please.
Thank you, Chair. But with your indulgence, can I just issue a health and safety warning, which is the members taking Lego bricks home with them. If they operate the home in the Japanese manner, they're guaranteed to cause problems for those walking in the rooms, as I understand it. My question is only to ask Councillor Holland to consider a New Year's resolution with regard to proofreading, especially when I'm speaking as the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny, when I've avoided a great pain to my psyche criticising any political party, including my own.
Thank you, Councillor Norman. If I could have a response, please, from the member for Cabinet Member High Street and Economic Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Norman, I will take that on board, and I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Councillor Holland, thank you very much indeed. And I'm sure we reciprocate your best wishes for Christmas as well. So, members, that brings us to the end of the agenda. And it remains for me really just to say thank you very much for your attendance here this evening. And I know we had quite a few apologies, but we've had a good number of you here. We've had some good debates, and thank you very much all for your contributions, which have helped to make this meeting interesting. And before I sign off, can I say a very happy Christmas to you all? and a happy new year as well. And that is extended to all of those people who happen to be watching online as well. So if you have been joining us for this full council meeting online, then certainly I, on behalf of all the members of this district council, wish you all a very happy Christmas and, of course, a successful and happy new year as well. With that, I'm going to end the live broadcast and say good night to you all